Alright mates, how's it going? In today's video, chapter 10 of Illidan by William King. Guess what? It's not my birthday anymore, so whilst you watch this video, I'll probably still be getting drunk or something. Let's go! As Maiev and her peeps approached the giant metropolis that was Shattrath, she noticed a few things. Firstly, it was the largest city she'd seen in Outland, with huge thick walls and mountains that acted as a natural defence of sorts. Secondly, huge sky-dwelling rays flew overhead. Those were of particular interest to Maiev. With flying mounts like those, her troops could strike swiftly and then be gone before their enemies could do anything about it. But she soon dismissed that thought. If she could get flying mounts, then so could Illidan, and then they'd just be fighting in the sky, as well as on the ground. At least down here, they could hide in a bush or something. State your business. I've come seeking an audience with Adal. And what about all your followers? Well, they've come seeking an audience with Adal as well. The guards then raised their lances. That whole thing had been a lot easier than Maiev thought it would be. But the fact that the vast bulk of her followers were Draenei had probably worked in her favour. Especially since they were all pretty ragged from their journey here, which made them all look like refugees. As soon as the warden crossed the threshold of the city, she gasped. There was power here, woven into the stones. We're in the presence of the light. Let's hope so. Hopefully it's not some great deceit. They continued to ride through the streets of Shattrath, and the Draenei recruits riding behind her were all just bloody amazed by everything. Not all of them had been here before, but they'd heard of the place. 'Twas like their capital and their Mecca, all in one. But the city was a bit worse for wear. The residents in the streets all looked very hungry. And it wasn't just Draenei living here either. They were broken, there were orcs, which made Maiev feel a little bit twitchy, but nothing compared to the anger she felt as soon as she saw a blood elf staring at her. What's that prick looking at? We should pity them. Their lives are twisted by their unnatural craving for magical power. I don't think I could even live if I became what they are. They were our kin once. Maybe one day they could be again. Maiev stared at Sarius as if he was talking like a crazy person, but then she remembered he was a druid. They're a bunch of weirdos with weird ideas. I don't think they want to be redeemed. I think they enjoy being what they are. How do you know? Have you talked to any of them? No. I was too busy trying to stop them from killing me, as you should remember. I certainly healed the wounds. Maiev noted that both Sarius and Anindra were smiling about something, despite the fact it seemed like they were arguing. They'd grown awfully close recently. Whatever. As long as it didn't interfere with their performance of their duties, it was fine. Soon, the warden and her peeps arrived outside an inn. The sound of music and revelry was coming from inside, and it sounded pretty banging. As they entered the courtyard, a massive broken emerged from inside the building, and looked very pleased indeed to see the sheer amount of customers he was about to receive. Blessings of the light be upon you. Welcome to the Crystal Goblet. Arechron from Talar mentioned his cousin, Alexius, runs this place. That would be me. You are thrice welcome. Do you want accommodation for everyone? Just me, my officers, and a dozen or so bodyguards. The rest will camp outside the city walls. Alexius grimaced slightly, but then turned and bellowed instructions in Draenei to a small army of servants who scurried off. I would be honoured if you would join me in my private rooms. There is much we must speak of. Okay then. Inside Alexius's chambers, the broken innkeeper grabbed a wine bottle from his collection, blew the dust off it, and showed it to Maiev, looking really proud of himself. But Maiev had no idea about the difference between Draenei vintages, and she really didn't care. This was a very fine year, a century before our world was broken. When you taste this, you'll be getting a taste of the old Draenor. Maiev forced herself to smile out of politeness, whilst the broken lifted a glass to his face, shoved his nose in it and sniffed it like a twat. Reminds me of my childhood. Drink a lot of wine as a child, did you? Sometimes. With meals. Mostly I just meant the smell. Makes me think of my father and my mother. His parents smelled of wine. That's great. This was before your world was shattered? Yeah, I'm older than I look. Must have been a terrible time. When the world shattered? Yeah, terrible doesn't really begin to describe it, to be honest. We thought the world was ending. The sky was burning, continents ripped apart. Sometimes mountain peaks just buggered off into space. Sometimes they came back down again and crushed thousands of us. I saw some of those floaty mountains in Nagrand. Did you? Great. Let's not talk about this, shall we? My cousin sent word of your quest ahead of your arrival. You seek the undoing of this new Lord of Outland, Illidan. Yes. You got a pretty small army for such a large undertaking. Are you an expert in such things? I wasn't always a fat old innkeeper, let's put it that way. Never ended up fighting quite such a mighty enemy, though. But you should know he's got agents everywhere. There's never a shortage of people who will exchange tails for gold. So be careful who you speak to, and even more careful what you say. I'll bear that in mind. I was told there are those here that might aid me. The Naaru, for example. They might, although they do have worries of their own, with the Burning Legion. They'd be grateful for your help with that. I have no doubt that theirs is a worthy goal, but I feel like I can best serve the light by overcoming Illidan. He's the greatest champion the Burning Legion has in Outland. So why is he at war with them? I don't know. Could be a trick, or a temporary disagreement. He's fallen out with his demonic overlords before, but he always worms his way back into their favour. You seem to know a lot about him. I was his jailer for 10,000 years. Oof, he must hate you. Can you arrange for me to see the Naaru? You don't need an appointment. You can just walk into the Terrace of Light and talk to him. It's that simple. For you, yeah. Your war against Illidan hasn't gone unnoticed. You said he has agents here. Would they be the Blood Elves? Perhaps. But I wouldn't be so quick to judge if I were you. The Cinderai here are sworn to protect the city. The Scryers look most unfavourably on anyone who helps the betrayer. They betrayed him themselves. Really? Prince Kel'Thas sent them here to lay waste to our city, and they were a mighty force, so they might have succeeded. But they laid down their arms and asked for an audience with the Naaru. Their leader, Vorenthal, had a vision apparently. Only way his people would survive was by serving the Naaru. Maybe he's just lying. A lot of people felt that way, but the Naaru spoke to Vorenthal and accepted him. He and his people have served the city ever since. Maybe he just lied to the Naaru. They can see deep into the minds of those they speak to. You can't easily deceive them. I don't know. Kel'Thas could probably do it. He's wily. Nonetheless, the Blood Elves of the Scryers tier would be another faction I would suggest you seek aid from. I would rather seek aid from Fel Orcs. Pity. The Scryers are mighty sorcerers and... Alexius then noticed Maiev was looking increasingly angry, so he decided not to carry on pressing the matter. I appreciate the help. No probs. There's one more person you could talk to. Khadgar. I believe he's from your world. Tell me about him. I've heard some stories. He's a human. Some say he's a hero who sacrificed himself to close the dark portal between Azeroth and Draenor. Others claim he was the apprentice of Maiev, though. It hardly seems like a recommendation to trust him. The Naaru do. Well, I'm not sure I can. Probably just as well he's not currently here, then. He was dispatched to the Netherstorm to investigate some strange appearances. You seem to know a lot, Alexius. I'm an innkeeper. We hear things. Well, I'm grateful for it. As long as you don't feel an urge to discuss my business with anyone else. You were sent here by my cousin, Maiev Shadowsong. To betray you would be to betray my own kin. Well, as long as we understand each other. Sometime later, Maiev entered the Terrace of Light itself. It was impressive, just like the rest of the city. The air shimmered, crystalline notes sounded in the air, and at the centre hovered a glowing entity of enormous power. So that's an Naaru. Hundreds of petitioners came and went, along with priestly servants. No doubt the Aldor she'd heard so much about. And some more Blood Elves stared at her as well. They didn't look hostile, but they didn't exactly look friendly either. They must have been the Scryers.
Greetings, Warden Shadowsong. I am Adel.
A loon shines on the moment of our meeting.
How can I aid you?
I've come to Outland in search of Illidan. I mean to return him to his incarceration.
An ambitious goal. Illidan styles himself the Lord of Outland now. He has the power to make good on that claim. Who are you to oppose him?
One who held him bound for 10,000 years.
A blink in the eye of eternity.
Seemed long enough to me.
As you mortals measure time, it was, no doubt.
You know Illidan must be opposed.
It is a task you seem admirably suited to.
It is the work of my life.
So I see, which is why I regret all the more that we have no aid to give you at this time.
You what, mate?
We too have a mission in this place. We oppose the Burning Legion, a task that takes all of our resources.
But Illidan serves the Legion. Opposing him can only aid you.
At this moment, Illidan opposes the Legion. He is its enemy. We take advantage of this to gather our strength.
He opposes the demons whilst it suits him. The moment it no longer does, he'll crawl back to his masters on his belly as he always has.
Your hatred blinds you.
It is not hatred. I seek justice for those he's killed, for those he's betrayed, for those he will kill. You cannot tell me that you believe that Illidan is any better than the Burning Legion.
You have no concept of the true nature of the Burning Legion, Warden Shadowsong.
And you do.
We have opposed it for 1,000 times your lifetime. We shall oppose it until the end of all that is. You must find your own path. You are not without allies here, even if you cannot see that. The Chief Magister of the Scryers waits to speak with you. A Blood Elf. One of your people.
They are not my people. They turned their back on my people, long ago. I would have nothing to do with those heretics.
That would be your choice.
Maiev was furious, but she decided to rein it in. She bowed, turned on her heel, and then started to leave without even saying goodbye. Some of the nearby Blood Elves audibly gasped at the sheer audacity of it, but that only made Maiev feel all the more pleased with herself. A tall Blood Elf even tried to approach her and speak, but she just swept by him and continued. Sod the lot of them. And we're leaving it there! Oh, Maiev. Too proud for your own good, you bitch. In the next video, we're back with Vandel. He's awake now, but still struggling with the demon meat that's currently in his belly. As usual, link in the description if you're interested in buying this book. Also, there's links to my Discord server and my Patreon page too. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, all of that bollocks. And all that's left to say is, thanks for watching, and see ya!